Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and this is really fun because on Zoom right now I have Ren Olivieri. Hey, Ren.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. You're in Toronto, sir?
Yes, I am.
I am in Los Angeles, therefore we are on Zoom, and I would do the usual disclaimer. Ren and I are not going to interrupt each other, but there's a micro delay when you record Zoom, and sometimes voices overlap, or sometimes actually, Ren, you've got a good mic there.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And I got a halfway decent mic, so if we sound like shit, people, don't blame us. We did our best here. Just blame the Zoom Corporation. They only have a couple billion or whatever, and they don't care about our podcast quality.
It could be my furnace kicking in every once in a while. I am up in Canada after all, so the heat's still on.
Fair enough. Yes. Canada. Well, April, it's springtime. But yeah,
we've actually had the worst winter we've had in my memory. It's been awful, but we're coming out of it now. So spring is on the way.
You know what's funny is last year, and now people just have to listen to us talk about Canada. Last year, I wanted to spend Christmas in Vancouver, and my friend in Vancouver said no, because you'll never come back if you spend winter here. He's like, it's just too cold. So we went up for 4th of July weekend instead. It was a very patriotic thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Vancouver rains a lot. So it's basically, my wife says it's like someone following you around with a squirt bottle and just the whole time you're there, just going, psst, psst. So anyway.
Yeah, so cold and wet, not a good idea for thin-skinned mofos from SoCal. So,
exactly.
So I was blocked from Canada. But anyway, all right, so we've established you're from Canada, and you are on this podcast because your film, The Trade, was an official selection at the Sherman Oaks Film Festival last year, December 2024. You took home the Programmer's Prize for Exceptional Filmmaking, and it is a hilarious film. I really love it, but it's smart and funny. It's subtle. It's you know, and by the way, it's also like a memorable one. Like I can tell you that all I have to do is, if I'm talking to somebody who's on the jury, as soon as I say, The Trade, everyone knows which movie I mean. Like, sometimes you have to explain the film, but as soon as you say The Trade, everyone's like, oh, The Trade.
That's great. Thank you. That's an honor.
People can watch it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. People can watch it. It's on YouTube right now. So I don't know the actual link, but I think you'll include a clickable one.
There will be a clickable link in the show notes. People should watch The Trade, and they get to see you perform in it.
Yeah. Sorry. We were low on budget, so I just decided to knock the rust off my old acting chops and jump back into the behind the camera.
Well, I'm glad you did, because I think you did an excellent job.
Thanks.
You completely understood your character's motivation, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. I really loved the idea. I probably more than the execution. I mean, I'm happy with the film and how it turned out, but I just always thought the idea was really funny. And as you say, like anybody who's seen The Trade, they will always say to me, if we're chatting somehow, they'll come up and you'll probably get traded. Then I'll be like, yes, okay, I'm the trade guy. So
I'm proud that I never stooped to that joke.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's because you
never did. Although amusingly, I think when prior to the festival, when we were emailing, I think I had to tell you, like, by the way, like I am a fantasy basketball commissioner.
For sure.
So we had to talk a little fantasy sports.
Yep. And then I feel like we talk sports every time we hang out because of our love for sports. To me is like this connective tissue. People who are into sports and who understand them, it's like filmmaking. It's a love language, and you get, I love my teams. I get frustrated with them. We're in these crazy, weird relationships where I give all this energy and they don't give me a championship every year. So it's, I love sports. And every time I go to a different city, I try to go to a sporting event because that's the real people. Those are the people who live there and live and breathe this, this team. And it just seems so much. I'm so connected to that.
Oh my God. When you're in, besides other cities, when you're in Europe, have you been able to go to a football match in Europe or something?
Yeah. My wife and I went to Amsterdam, and it was unreal, unhinged. Like,
It's anyone who it's fantastic. One of the great experience. Everyone's gonna have to listen to us talk sports a little, but I just have to share that during the NBA strike, when Darren Williams of the NBA was playing in Istanbul, I happened to be traveling through Istanbul and
no way.
got to go to a professional basketball game in Istanbul. And for those who can't see me, only Ren can see me, but I can pass for Turkish. So I was sitting there for a little while, and then finally the guy next to me, who looked a lot like me, goes, "You're American?" And I said, "Yeah." And I got the longest, nicest little speech. He just said, "I want to thank you for coming to this." When the game was over, he said, "I want to thank you for coming. It means so much that you have the NBA." I'm like, "Well, it's on strike." But he's like, "No, but you have that. But the fact that you're respecting our league and coming here and supporting our team." And I just thought to myself, and I apologize to anyone who doesn't like me shitting on. I'm going to shit on LA more than America, but I can promise you that when someone from Tokyo or Canada goes to a Laker game and they sit next to a local Angelino, the Angelino doesn't say, "Thank you for attending this. It really means a lot that you come here." You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like the hospitality at sporting events overseas is amazing.
Yeah, for sure. It's super fun. To be fair, in LA, I've been to hockey games. I've been to Lakers games. I've never been to a Clippers game. I've been to a Dodgers game. But everywhere they go, when they find out that we're Canadian, they're like, "Hey," everybody makes a joke or two, but the locals are quite friendly to the visitors. So,
that's good to know. All right. So
I think it's
my whole thing is just bullshit.
No, it's not bullshit. I've also had negative interactions with some folks in other American cities, but like Buffalo is unhinged in the stands. Sometimes you get people pretending they're from different parts of the U.S. It's crazy. I got some long stories, but I won't go on in too much detail. But yeah, like Europe for me was like I spent more time watching the fans like sing and chant and light fire bombs off in the middle of the soccer game. And I just was like, this is insane, And I guess in some European cities for basketball games, they do some of that indoors. So it's like
they do. And they have a different song for when the opponent's shooting a free throw and a song for when their guy's shooting a free throw. And like, you just get, it's just lovely. And it is so more fun. Neighborhood and there's a lot more civic pride in it, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And like you said, it's connective tissue. It really does. I believe I'm going to do the unusual thing of quoting one of my heroes, Frank Zappa. And he said, in order to be a country, you need your own beer, your own car, and your own sports teams or something like that. Like that's what defines a culture.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Is every country you visit, they have their local beer. So anyway. We're supposed to be talking about You and the Trade. So,
sorry.
So people can watch The Trade and enjoy it. They'll understand from how we've spent the first 7 to 8 minutes of this podcast that The Trade is sports adjacent, but it's not a sports film.
Nope. It's more of a relationship film.
It's a relationship film, and it's an allegory, and it's a comedic did I just pull that? It is a comedic allegory.
Yeah, it works. It totally works. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
So there you go. So people should watch it. And now we're going to find out not just why you made it, but what led you into being a creative person. Because my little soapbox is I jump on my soapbox and I'm like, if it weren't for people like yourself who have an idea for a film and follow through on it and do it, which is one of the most thankless jobs in the world. I would bet you have stories about how fun it was to make The Trade. But making an independent short film, there's not as many rewards as I wish there were, so to speak. So one of the reasons for the podcast is just to let people talk more about their work because, at Sherman Oaks Film Festival, we had a nice 15-minute Q&A probably, and it was, a good time. But 15 minutes to discuss a creative work, it's not enough. It's for me at least. So. How did you get into it? What got you started on? Did you start as a performer? Did you start as a writer? Did you, sometimes?
I'd say both. It's weird. So I used to be, I wasn't like a child actor or anything like that, but I got into the theater in high school, and it was actually quite funny. One of my teachers came up to me in like grade 11 and was like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know." And he's like, "Can you host the assembly or whatever?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What does that mean? Like host the assembly?" So that was kind of my first, like I'd been in the play when I was younger and I never really fell in love with it, but hosting this, doing this, like I did some stand up. They were like, "Go home, write some jokes, do some bits, come back and, you'll introduce all the acts and you interact with the audience. You'll be great. You'll be great." This is like my grade 11 English teacher or whatever. And I came back and I did it, and I was like, the crowd for me was like, I was like, wow, that was really cool. So that's kind of how I started acting, I think, or at least kind of fell in love with the idea of being an actor. And then, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, because I didn't want to interrupt, because I already promised people in the introduction I wouldn't jump in, but so I held a finger up. So was it just that teacher? Were you a bit of a card in class? Like you had enough personality that this teacher recognized we could put Ren on stage. Ren can MC.
I was a smart ass.
Excellent.
I played hockey. Like I was a typical Canadian boy that I am. I grew up playing hockey like at a very high level and got hurt when I was 16. And that essentially ended my hockey career as a 16-year-old. I had to retire. And I was kind of lost a little bit, like, to be honest. Like, I didn't have that camaraderie, that the team. I wasn't around the boys. I wasn't like, that was really hard as a 16-year-old to be suddenly alone. All of my best friends, all of that. So I kind of found this, I fell into theater, and I found that I could give that same energy to the people in the theater that I was giving to the team before. So I could joke around and people laughed, and it was community driven, like, totally different type of behavior in both environments. But I felt like I could really sort of get into, being me. I was allowed to be me in that environment. And hockey has that fine line. You can be the guy who lightens up the team and a motivator, but when you're playing the game, you're very serious. And so in class, I found that I gravitated towards the comedic things and being funny and getting my attention that I needed that way. And then I kind of had a knack for it. Like I thought it was pretty good. So I got into we had this thing called the Sears Drama Festival, got into that, started winning some awards as performance awards, decided to go off to university to be an actor, got there, got distracted, and became a phys ed teacher instead with a minor in drama. So, through that, I was kind of writing at the same time and trying to figure all of that out, and, came back to Toronto after graduating from university out in Victoria, British Columbia. And got into the Second City, which is like a comedy company. Some pretty significant names have come out of the Second City in Toronto and Canada. And to be able to be in their company was pretty inspiring for me. So kind of moved through their program, for a couple of years, did some shows. I was never like one of their main stage guys, but I did some auxiliary company stuff and, these things that we called industrials, which were super fun. We'd get to go and basically do improv at a party as someone else. So you'd be I'd show up, and I was like, I don't even know how old I was, 28, 29. And I was doing Jean Chrétien, who was our prime minister at the time. So I talked like this, the French Canadian accent, and I look nothing like the guy, but it was super fun. And then kind of life got in the way. So, young actors not making a ton of money. I was doing cartoons. I was doing a lot of voiceover work, and
because there's actually a lot of TV and film, like Toronto is
tons.
Is really, it's almost like a mix of New York and LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much like the hub of entertainment in Canada. I know Vancouver, because Vancouver is known for it was like Hollywood North, like just for But for actual Canadian content, I hate the word content, but you know what I mean. For Canadian programming, like Toronto is the place.
Yeah, totally. There are so many shows that shoot here that sell themselves as New York or LA, and all you need is a exterior. Get some of your B unit to go out to New York and shoot some exteriors, and then come back to Toronto and you're shooting in this luxurious, beautiful building or this dive bar, or we've got it all here, right? Like that's one of the things that I find that I do when I visit other cities is talk about how great Toronto is and how diverse and how inclusive and how much opportunity there is here. Like as a really growing city, especially in the film industry, we've got everything you need. And we just, the talent pool is way deeper than people give it credit for being. And so it's a pretty great place to do this stuff. And you get 40% off your dollar if you're coming down from the US, which is awesome.
That doesn't hurt. But also, the CBC is headquartered there, right? Like, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it the Canadian Broadcasting Company? Like it's
yes,
it
is. It's funny. Like, CBC is awesome. It's really shrinking. It's changing so much, and I think it's in its efforts to be inclusive. It's not. It's being exclusive. So
just for me, and I know it dates me, but like as a kid of the 80s, basically, like the stuff coming out of Canada was like,
Littlest Hobo,
SCTV and some other shit was just like, it was as good as the British programming, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
Like we were all, if you were a comedy nerd in the States, you were actually staying up past midnight to watch stuff from Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. This SCTV, which was SC Second City TV, the original broadcast with some of the greatest Canadian exported comedians of all time, like Catherine O'Hara. Are you kidding me? Like Eugene Levy and Rick Moranis.
We stole them all.
John Candy. Well, it makes total sense. Like they're so good. You took them, but the greatest thing about those guys is that, at least from my fans' perspective, is that they've always stayed connected to Canada in some way. So, that the pride that goes along with being in that, being able to say that I went through, not nowhere near them, but went through that Second City program. That was pretty cool at the time, and pretty motivating. So yeah, it was cool. And it's funny, you said to me when we met during when we chatted, during our Q&A, you asked me if The Trade was written as a play before it had ever been performed.
Yeah, because it struck me that it could have been a sketch on stage. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you asking me that, and I was like, and I didn't really think about it until you asked that question. But it's like, holy crap! Like I totally wrote it like it's a play. So because that's what my comfort zone was as a writer, I think. So I mean, I've been writing for TV, like commercials and video content for years, but when I went to write The Trade, you had to use some of the knowledge that I had from writing commercials, understanding of production and production value, and then the background I have in comedy, trying to combine it all, for me to put it all into one place and make it as easy to execute as possible. And the only way to do that was really to write it like a play, so that it was like one location, simple framing, like not a ton of really difficult camera work no stunts, nothing, crazy like that. I really had this simple idea that I wanted to share. And I think the play being exposed to all the plays and everything that I did earlier in my career, I guess you could say, that was what helped me formulate the actual script.
For sure. And I mean, it's a long tradition from stage and sketch to TV and movies, right? I mean, it's nice when the line gets blurred between different I don't want to say platforms, but whatever. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so when you went through it, when you went through all that, like when you were coming up on the trade, was the trade? You said life got in the way. Was the trade you're returning to it a little bit for you, or had you been?
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of like, I had a young kid, got offered a job, security that goes along with being, in a full-time thing. I don't know if you've ever done any acting, but it's one of those things, like you can audition every day for the rest of your life and never get anything. And, you probably suck if that's the case, but but there's also like timing, and there's so many components. Like I auditioned for a part that they told me in the room that I had it, and then they cut the part out of the movie. And I was like, oh, well, that's fucking weird. But I mean, if you're allowed to
you're allowed to curse.
Okay, cool.
Did I not curse when I introduced you? Shit. Oh, Ellen, go on.
So I kind of lost my train of thought there.
Well, you were talking, I'd asked how, was it a return? So, right. So you were saying how like marriage and family made you turn your back on acting a little and become a stable, productive member of society. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess. But I wouldn't say stable and I wouldn't say productive, but I guess a member of society. So I left acting behind. I always kind of kept one foot in, and I always still was. I do a lot of like animated voices and character stuff, voice wise. So I was always like, I'd get a call from someone who knew me or knows me, or I'd get asked to audition for something, and I would kind of be like, okay, I'll take the time, and I would do it. Sometimes I'd get it. Most of the time I wouldn't, but I always kind of stayed connected to the acting thing, because I felt like I was like, I don't know if I'm done with this yet. And so I got to a point a couple of years ago where, after COVID, the whole thing, I just was like, my career is kind of like, as a writer, copywriter in the advertising industry, it's a pretty volatile business right now. I mean, it's not great. I don't know what it's like south of the border, but in Toronto, in particular, it's actually quite nerve wracking when you get to be my age and you're freelancing. It's hard. So I was like, I'm going to write something for me. I'm going to start thinking about what it would look like to actually write some stuff. And so I started, actually the first thing I wrote, I think, was a feature that I threw up on Coverfly, and just to sort of see, how is this? And it did fine. It didn't win any awards or anything, but I got some good feedback, and so I was like encouraged to do that a little bit more, and then wrote a couple more scripts. And then they were all too complicated, and I knew they were too complicated. And I really just wanted to make something like in a hurry. Like I just wanted to, so, I think it was December. I was sitting outside and, thinking, and it came to me, the idea for the trade. So I wrote it. I went in the house and kind of wrote one or two drafts, and then I shared it again on Coverfly and kind of got a ranking. And I was like, oh, that's neat. And maybe this is a good script. And then I was shooting a commercial with a DP whom I'd worked with a bunch of times, and I said, Andrew Kerr, and I said, oh yeah, we're talking fantasy football and this and that, and I'm like, I just wrote this script about this guy who, in fantasy football, and he's like, oh, I want to read it. So I shared the script with him. He came back to me the next day, and he's like, we should shoot this. Let's shoot it. I'm like, I don't have any money. And he's like, don't worry about it. And he's like, well, let's just make it. It'll only take a day. Like, we can totally shoot this.
Right. And he had equipment and stuff. And
yeah, you can have all my gear. My guys will come with me. Like, it's going to be great. I'm like, okay. So, wow. And, like, I've produced thousands of hours of commercials and, small mini documentaries for brands. And now I'm like, oh shit, I got to do this. I guess, yeah, let's do it. So it just so happened that we were just sitting, and the director, who the guy was directing the commercial, this guy David Kalikanakis, wonderful guy, owns Airfoil Media, like probably the nicest guy in the business, came over and said, "What are you guys talking about?" And I said, "Oh, we were just talking about this thing." And Andrew's like, "Yeah, you should read it." And he said, "Okay, let me read it." So he read it, and he's like, "Yeah, let me know how I can help." I'm like, "Well, so now it's kind of steamrolling now." And the characters that I ended up in, so there's three of us in the film, and myself, Louise Lambert, and Jamie Cavanaugh. And Louise ended up playing my wife, and she was in a hilarious commercial, if I do say so myself, a very funny commercial that I'd written for the Insurance Bureau of Canada or something like that. And she played this like kind of wacky girl in a museum of obsolete items, like old phones and pink insurance slips. And she was so funny. I found her on Instagram, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to read a script?" And she was like, "Oh my God, I'd love to be in it." So that was my voice, my Louise voice. And and then she actually grabbed Jamie, who plays one of the other character in the play, or in the film. And it just kind of was like, "Oh man." And then David volunteered to help more with and his team from Airfoil, and it just all fell together really, really well. And then it was over to Peter Miller, my editor, who really kind of just helped us stitch it all together, as editors do, and help, find the right storyline and timing. And he did an amazing job. And, David from DB Audio came in, and he volunteered too. And it's just like everybody was just being so generous with their time and with their skills. It was a really fun thing to do. And I was so overwhelmed by the response from my friends, and I hadn't felt that feeling in a long time. So I was really excited to keep going. So yeah, that's kind of how the trade.
And I mean, not to, I'm about to, I know you won't be able, well, I have to just comment that it must have been an unbelievable experience to not just write something, but to have so many people you like and respect respond to it like that. I mean, that's a really wonderful way for a film to come together, to just have a bunch of really nice and talented people say, "I want in."
Yeah.
Plus, how many pages was it? Probably
6, 8, something like that. So it wasn't super long.
So it really does give credence to the, it just wasn't painful for anyone like to read it.
Yeah.
Like you weren't saying, would you spend like a whole weekend reading a 90-page script? No, it's like, 6, 7, 8 pages. Let me look at it. And then like they laugh, and it's smart and funny, and they're like, "I want in." So yeah, that just must have been incredibly reinforcing.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool moment. I remember getting the ranking back from Coverfly and thinking, "Wow, cool." Like I don't know. I didn't expect it. So it was a very neat kind of thing. And that's what made me decide I gotta share my work with people that I know, because my people that I know are going to be honest with me. You got to know the people I know. They're like, my buddies will tell me if it's crap, they'll tell me. My wife reads everything I write, mostly for spelling, and then she'll go back and she'll read it again, and she'll, you know what you should do. And that's she loves to do that, which is great. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. But for me to share my personal work, was hard at the beginning, and so when people were like positive about it, that was encouraging. And it's just like anything else, that makes you want to do it more. So when everybody volunteered, and everybody really volunteered, like, holy smokes, it was so cool to like have everybody together and build the and then the very first festival that we were able to get into was a small festival here in Toronto, the Toronto Independent Film Festival. So same acronym, but not the not the big one. and I everybody got a ticket. We all kind of went to the show, and it was so cool. My oldest friend, like, he came to the thing. My wife and I were stuck in traffic, which is a total tradition in Toronto. You're always stuck in traffic in this stupid city. But we got to the thing. We ran into the theater just as the lights were coming down, and I think my film was second or third up. And the really cool thing, and this is a little ramble. A girl that I went to high school, her film was the first one that was playing. So I was like, what? So I took a picture of the screen and texted her, and she was in the theater. So it was a really cool, like, first experience. Got the cast. I got some pals from my past, and my wife's there, my old buddy, and then my wife was so sick. Like, we had to race out of there so fast, and I felt so bad for her, but I'm not going to tell the whole story because she would kill me if I did. But, yeah, it was a hell of a night. And I remember specifically applying to Sherman Oaks and being like, oh God, this is the one. Like, this is the one I really want to get into. Based on everything that I'd read. Like, I didn't know you, I didn't know anybody. And, I read a bunch of stuff online, et cetera. And when I got the call, so I don't think I originally got accepted, and then I got accepted late, which was totally cool.
Yeah. I mean, it really is just, that's not a comment about quality, right? It really is like, we have all the films we want in, but we have to be careful. It has to be a process, because otherwise, if you just invite,
yeah,
I don't know why it's hard for me to say, but it's not a quality thing. It really is just like, we've got to make sure that we've got, because we are the festival that does a 15-minute Q&A for every short. Mm-hmm. And then once we start finding out how the theater scheduling goes together, then we can go, oh, thank God, now there's room. Let's get some more films in here.
Sure. And I was going to say, I remember specifically the letter that you'd sent me, the note you'd sent me, was very encouraging. And I was like, oh, that was cool. Like,
we do the people on the bubble. Yeah. We make sure we're like, look, this isn't a rejection. This is a, yeah. And then
which was great.
Well, if it was me, I probably wrote you. I definitely wrote you. And I said something like, remember when we said
you did,
you might be in the theater? Well, guess what? You're in we weren't lying. Like, I know everyone assumes that's a lie.
No, I specifically remember saying, because I've gotten plenty of rejection letters, for all sorts of things. But I remember specifically being like, that was the best rejection letter I've ever gotten. But I didn't feel like a rejection letter. I remember saying, I was like, it feels like just give me a minute, like a letter. And
because again, needless to say, I guess it's because of the way we run our festival. Like, we just care a little too much. So it's like, we don't want the situation where we have to turn to somebody and say, so your Q&As today are going to have to be 5 minutes. Because we have more films than we can, we bit too much of the sandwich. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Now, if we didn't care, it'd be easy. But
yeah, for sure.
We're in this horrible situation of caring.
Ugh, so Canadian. No, I'm just kidding.
I know we are. We act like Canadians, even though we don't have an official Canadian involved. But we're Canadian adjacent, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's so nice. And also you just shared that. So you actually did your research.
A little bit.
As far as what festivals to submit to.
Yeah, I did some reading on Film Freeway and things like that. What people said about it, reviews, things like that. And I just wanted, I didn't apply to some of the ones, like I didn't go to Europe. I want to go somewhere, places that I know. And, LA seemed like the right place. It was so funny when I got in, I said to my wife, I was like, that festival, the Sherman Oaks Festival I really wanted to get into? She's like, yeah. I was like, I got in. And she's like, oh, cool. Can I come? I was like, wait, no, you're supposed to say something nice to me, like congratulations or something. She's like, oh yeah, congratulations. Can I come? So yeah, it's pretty stoked to be able to go down do that.
I mean, based on the film, I'm surprised she felt she had to ask. I would assume, she could just say, "I'm going, by the way. You're not
totally.
going to LA without me, mister."
No, she we travel great together, so that's totally cool. Yeah.
And it doesn't suck to, LA is a great place to visit, I hope.
Yeah, no, we love it there. I mean, we were there. The weird part is we took our kids there on a trip. We did our oldest started university this year. So that last summer was our last March break where we could do something. And so we went, and part of our break was spent in LA, and they loved it. They thought it was amazing.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. And you guys had, I believe you. Yeah. And you got to go support some other filmmakers and go to their films, and you were there for the gala, which is nice.
Yeah. The gala was awesome. I love that venue. It was such a cool kind of vibe in that place. And then when we were there, I met Enrique Mendoza, who had a film called Fervor, and we hit it off. Jokes and lots of jokes and a few drinks, and his wife and my wife were chatting it up. And next thing you know, I saw his film, he saw my film. We decided that we were going to collaborate on a script that I'd written. So it worked out pretty great, serendipitously. I always said that I want the trade to give me an opportunity to do something next. Because it's like I said, it's a 5-minute short film. It's a fun, simple idea. The execution of it is fine. It looks good. It won a bunch of stuff, which is cool. But I didn't really have super high expectations for it to be, it's gonna sell and be a TV show or something. Like, I'd never thought that way about it. I was more like, okay, rip this Band-Aid off, get this out of your system, and if it's good, it'll lead to something else. And that's what it did. So it led to Enrique and I collaborating on my second short film, I think his fourth or something, maybe fifth. And we just wrapped shooting a couple of weeks ago, and we're in post-production, and we're getting close to getting ready to submit it to Sherman Oaks for next year, or for this year.
Cool. And by the way, I mean, the way you explained why your film looks really, I guess I wish I had a better way to say it, but it looks high budget. Like I understand now that all these people from a commercial were all excited to do it because it has that look of like an expensive corporate commercial. Like, it's just really well made on the technical side.
Yeah. Andrew's, I call him my linchpin, because if he's in, then it's all going to work. He's so good. And he shot our second, Rob Roy. Which my comment was so I could say. So did you manage to get right? So the same team came together again. Yeah. So a lot of our crew is similar. There's a few overlapping guys. The camera team is all the same dudes, and they're unbelievable. And then I went after, like, we didn't have hair and makeup on the trade, but we do now. And so Lisa Mandel came in, and she's stellar, and a bunch of other really great, talented people. Our cast worked out really well. I'm really excited about the cast. I don't know how much you want me to share.
That's up to you. Honestly, obviously there's nothing cooler for me than people who meet at one of our festivals collaborating. It has happened. It's happened before, but it's always so cool. And I did get it. I was pretty impressed when I talked to Enrique about it, because he was just like, yeah, we ran a couple budgets and it made more sense for me to go to Toronto. Yeah. How cool that a guy from the LA area got to go up to Canada and make a film.
Yeah, it was, and he was open to it, which was even more awesome. And his producer, Shannon Carl, he brought her with him. So the two of them came up to Canada, and we did all the things we needed to do. A lot of it was I kind of started the ball rolling, and I brought my one of my producers, Alistair, in to help out, and he knows everybody, and it was super easy to work. He's such a great guy, Alistair. And we'd worked on some commercials before, and he's so connected with everybody around the city. So it was really him that did a lot of the legwork and kind of connecting me to people. And I would chat with them, or he would chat with them. They'd read the script. They'd be like, oh, I want in on this. And then for me as a writer, just for people to be like, hey, I want in on this is so cool, for a guy like Andrew to be like, yeah, I'll do it for you. Like, I'll totally do that. And with his
and do
skill
it again.
and then, his team and, all these people just coming up and just wanting to be a part of it and saying, nobody has to say to you, this is going to be cool. They just have to get through the day when it's happening. So for people to say that kind of stuff was pretty awesome. And, Enrique works hard, and he's got a vision. And, I ended up being in this one too, just cause, budgets. So yeah, it's just,
does that mean you would have preferred to not be in it? Cause your performance is good.
I'm okay. I think that I want to feel a part of it. I don't actually know what the psychology is, to be honest, but like I've written so many commercials that I haven't been in, and I've written stuff that I have been in, but it's never supposed to be about me. So that's kind of when I was in the trade. I did the trade because I knew exactly what I wanted that character to be. And I had other people read it and they didn't get the character. And so that's why I did it. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to see if I can still act. Cause I can jump on a stage and do improv or comedy, like without hesitation. It's a completely different me. It's just I'm a different person, and I'm cool with that. But when I'm doing this kind of stuff, you got to be rooted in the truth for the character. So it was important for me that this character and the way the whole scenario played out was the way I intended it. So that's why I did it. Rob Roy, I could have probably gotten away with casting someone else, but we were going through casting. We weren't finding what we wanted. So I'm just going to do it. So, and it's not a main character. So it's just a smaller character. So that's fine.
Did Enrique want you to hop on screen too, or?
Oh, Enrique, if you ask Enrique, he'd probably say, I don't care. I don't.
I'm already like painting a picture in my head of him going, "Oh, come on."
No. He was never
get in front of the camera.
He did. I would say he was like, I don't care. Like, but he's not quick with the compliments. I'll say that. So he would always make jokes, be like, yeah, well, we're stuck with him because he wrote it. It's like, so, which is totally fine. It's just, we're just taking the piss out of each other.
That's his Guatemalan sense of humor.
Yeah. And my father was Italian, came over from Italy. And so it's very similar, like that kind of flair, that European sort of Hispanic, sarcasm. Don't say anything nice. It'll go to his head. That's how I grew up.
That is true in a lot of cultures. Yeah. Although it did pop in my head. It's so funny. I was right with Guatemala, right? Like when he did the podcast a couple weeks ago, it just now occurred to me, holy shit, a Canadian and a Guatemalan met at a film festival in LA. That's pretty cool.
That sounds like the start of a bad joke.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, I'll tell you when we're not recording. I once walked on. No, I'm going to tell you right now. I once walked onto a tennis court and there were four of us playing doubles. And I looked at the four of us and I said, so a Muslim, a Hindu, a Jew, and a guy from China walk onto a tennis court. And they all looked at me and said, what's the joke? I go, no, that's just us.
Yeah. That's awesome. Totally. It's the same. But yeah, we hit it off. And if it weren't for, the festival and kind of, hanging out and chatting and, he came to the Q&A, and in the Q&A, he put his hand up and he's like, do you have any more scripts that you want to share? And I knew he would like Rob Roy. I could tell from his film, and I loved the aesthetic of his film of Fervor. So I joked with him about, I knew he was going to be a good director because when he at the festival. He was telling everybody where to sit. So, because he thought it was, anyway, it was just a funny little moment that I was just watching, and I thought this guy's going to be great. So,
and it's interesting because Fervor is a dramatic thriller of sorts, and yours is just, it's a smart comedy. So it's really cool that genre didn't matter for your connection.
So the film that I wrote, the Rob Roy, is a little bit more in line with what with Fervor. So it's kind of a like a caper kind of thriller,
right?
Thriller,
so there's
like
caper, so it's sort of a crime film.
Yeah,
sorts,
yeah.
Right.
It's a crime film. It all takes place in a dive bar, and it's kind of a who you don't know what's going on, and the characters are a couple of unique characters, which is fun and really well performed by the cast. So I'm looking forward to sharing it with everybody and having some people say, "Hey, it makes you nervous."
And now, you think you're going to make a short a year or something like that?
I don't know about that.
You think you're going to be able to resist? I mean,
I don't know.
At some point, is one of your collaborators going to turn to you and say, "All right, show us these features," or write a feature that's more budgetarily attainable, I'll say.
Yeah, for sure. I think, obviously the goal is for this film to feed whatever happens next. So my whole motto is just keep going forward. And, I don't know any overnight successes. Like, I think everybody just kind of works hard until somebody notices them. And my goals are it's not lofty. Like, I don't have this crazy, I don't want to be the Marvel guy. Like, it's none of that stuff. It's more like, just keep doing, just keep creating, just keep writing, keep connected to all these wonderful people that are working with you. And, maybe you can help them someday. Like, that's my whole thing is I would love for one, like, I've had an opportunity to write a couple of things for a couple of people, and, somebody needed a bio. So something as simple as that. I was like, yeah, man, no problem. Clacked it out, made it, shared it. To just staying connected to the creative process and being able to keep doing is super important to me. So I don't know. I don't know what next year looks like. It's been a rough year in terms of my copywriting career, but so we'll see. But yeah, just to be able to have, the trade feed, Rob Roy feed, whatever happens next. I have some stuff that I've written feature length that I'm pretty proud of, but one of them, the most recent one that I'm working on, I'm not super ready to share yet. It's the content is sometimes I'm not sure about, so I'm still trying to figure it out.
It's always good just to pump it out, right? Because writing is rewriting. You just gotta, if you're precious about that first draft, it never happens. But I was gonna ask, because writing is so intrinsic to who you are now. Was Second City where you first kind of learned how to write? Because in your story of young Ren up through school and stuff, there was performance and stuff, but you didn't sound like a kid who was writing short stories and stuff. So did you learn writing once you got involved in sketch and the Second City kind of training?
Yeah, I took a creative writing class in grade 13, which was and I failed because my teacher hated me. She absolutely hated me. And I was just, I remember writing a play, like a short 5-minute play, and I don't actually remember what it was about. And I remember the class just laughing, and we did like a table read in the class, and the class enjoyed it. And, everybody was like, "Oh man, that's so fun." I got like 50%. And I was like, what the hell? Right. Like, she just hated me.
Was it because you were funny?
I don't know. I was probably more because I was a smart ass than funny. I think, you know what I mean? I think I was a confident kid. I wasn't cocky. I wasn't arrogant or rude, but I was definitely I knew I was entertaining to my classmates, And if I was disrespectful to her, my father would have knocked my head off. So it was a fine line for me. But then, like I say, I went off to university and did that. And I did a lot of acting, and I wasn't really a writer because I was super insecure about my writing. People would be like, "Oh, you spelled this wrong." And I'm like, I don't care. Like, it's not about, you know what the words, so just keep going, read it. Like, don't get caught. Like, fuck, I would get so sorry. I would get so, I'd get so mad about people's like, do you like the idea? And I remember writing a pilot, and this is why the CBC and I are not friendly, years ago. And it was about an advertising show. It was like 2007. And I'd never written anything like this before in my life. And I had a friend of mine who was like, you should write it. It's a great idea. So it was an idea for a TV show based on advertising. I wrote it in Word. Like, I wrote the pilot in Word, and I wrote the Bible all in Word. Like, I just didn't know any differently. And, somebody put it on the desk of the head guy at the CBC and said, "This is really funny." And the head guy said to, the comedy person, "You got to meet this guy." So they called me up, and I was working at McCann with McLaren McCann at the time, big agency all over the place. And I answered my phone, and I was like, "Hello." And they were like, "Yeah, we want to talk to you about," what was it called? All That for 30 Seconds was the name of the show. And she's like, "We want to talk to you. I'm the head of comedy for the CBC, blah, blah, blah. What did you write this in?" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "What did you write it in?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She said, like, "We use Final Draft." And I'm like, "Well, I wrote it. I don't have Final Draft. I wrote it in Word." She's like, "Well, yeah, but you don't write scripts in Word." I'm like, "Okay, well, do you like the idea? Like, what do you?" And she lit me up. So it like poked my balloon, and I became super insecure, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to share any of my work because people are mean. And so it kind of took me a while to get back the gumption, the confidence that I needed to sort of start putting my stuff out there again. So
that story is really annoying because people above that person at the CBC said, "This is funny."
Yeah.
That should have been what mattered, not the software you used.
Yeah, it was weird. And then, of course, I wasn't very nice to her after she wasn't very nice to me. I was like, "Well, what are your credentials?" I was like, "I'm going on the offense now, lady." Like, I'd been writing for the Second City for a couple of years at that point, and I'd written sketch and, seen some sketches and performed improv, and I knew I was funny. So I was like, "Why are you being so awful?" And I think that didn't help. So
why are you an awful person? Doesn't always help you with the person writing you the speeding ticket. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. So,
but they were being an awful person. I mean,
yeah, she wasn't being super fair. That's for sure.
How shitty if that was just like, she just had a really bad day and it was totally not even about you, but who knows? Wow.
Yeah. Never heard from her again,
that's another one of the things that kept you keeping stuff close to your chest for a while.
Yeah. And then, like I say, life, keeps you busy, right? So you take one job or you lose a job, or your family's, I got divorced. Like, it was this whole like crazy whirlwind of stuff going on. So, all the stuff that I thought I wanted and didn't have time to do, or, all life got in the way. So when I finally felt like I had an opportunity to do something again, and I had the confidence that I needed in myself, but in my, my wife believes in me, and my buddies are encouraging me. I was like, "Oh, this feels different." So I tried, and it worked. So far so good. And I'd love to keep writing, and I'd love to keep doing, and collaborating with other people always makes my work better. And, sharing personal stories that turn into like, pieces of film is kind of the goal always. So, I find that that's the most rewarding stuff, is when you can see like chunks of your life.
Yeah. And I'm about to say something hopeful, which is like we do live in a world now where uh, there's a lot of unknowns in the entertainment industry. So it might actually be some pretty fertile ground for the indies, for the people who do it for themselves and for the right reasons.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, I see all these goddamn headlines, or I actually get emails all the time that say like, all these they run surveys and they're like 40% of people who watch such streaming wish there was more independent content and stuff. Like people just want something fresh and different.
Yeah.
They have gotten a little tired of the Marvel stuff you mentioned. I mean, it really is. I mean, heck.
Well, it's the formula, right? And the formula works. The formula's I've watched I think pretty much all of them, but for me, I consume them differently than I would consume an indie film, big time. And if I like not knowing any of the people who are on the screen because they don't have baggage that they brought with them from something else, right? Like, there's movies that I've watched that I didn't watch for a long time because of the baggage along with the cast of the characters. And, I was like, I don't want to watch that guy. I didn't want to watch Joaquin Phoenix play Johnny Cash. Like, Johnny Cash is one of my heroes. But when I finally got around to watching it, I was like, okay, that was really good. That's a bad example, but yeah.
But no, there are most actors. It is that's an interesting subject that we probably shouldn't even dive into, but it's so rare. Like I think the unicorn is like Meryl Streep. Like every time you see Meryl Streep, she's somebody else, and you're fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
But every time Al Pacino is on screen, you're just watching Al Pacino again.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Some people get mad at me for that example, but
he's pretty good at being Al Pacino though.
he's a very entertaining. He's one of the best at being Al Pacino.
Yeah.
but like you said, but yeah, the actor baggage thing, that is, well, you brought up the biggest challenge with film festival running is when people say, "Oh, are there any what acting?" I'm like, no, you're coming to watch films with actors you haven't seen before, made by filmmakers you haven't heard of before. You're getting it on the ground floor with people.
Mm-hmm. And there's more opportunities, I think, obviously with streaming and all of the things that, who doesn't love watching a movie in a theater, but with independent networks and channels and YouTubes, everybody can create and everybody can make anything they want if they work hard enough. If they want it bad enough, and they'll make it.
And obviously I'm hopeful that curation and the day will come that people's work is really starts to get recognized, because Lord knows it hasn't worked as well as it should for the last 5 to 10. I mean, there's been so much change, but
yeah, I wonder if some of the, like, I felt like feels like things are ready. It feels like the world is ready and wants better, more unique stories. Not better, but more.
Yeah,
unique.
Well, but they want. Look,
Voice
you have to. You can't. I mean, I did actually. I was with you. I got into the Marvel thing. I took about 10 years off. I think I quit around Iron Man 3. I'm like, I get it. There's a superhero, there's a supervillain. The villain almost wins and the hero wins. I don't have to go to them anymore.
Yep.
And then they pulled out the Thanos thing, and actually our kid was invited to see the last one, Endgame, and I looked at her and said, well, if we don't rent Infinity War, you're going to be lost when you go to that birthday party. Totally. And then we watched it, and it was good, and I was like, oh my God, like I've missed out. So I dove back in. But then since that Endgame movie, like each one that's come out, I've been like, yeah, no, I'm bored again. Like near our home, there's actually Disney owns a billboard near us. And so there's always either a Marvel movie or Disney movie up there. And I admit, look, I'm an indie film fan. So every time I stop at that street light, I look up and I go, you really fucking expect me to go see a live action Snow White? You think I was sitting at home going, if only I could see this classic movie with, you know, with human beings. Forget it. And then now it's like, the next Marvel one. I'm like, you really think I think that little team of superheroes is going to lose it? Give me something good.
Yeah, totally. They have to kill one of them off.
All right. Well, my joke these days is that you should watch the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe and stop after Infinity War. Stop when Thanos has won, because actually that's the better ending.
Yeah, totally.
And he had some good points.
Anyway. One or two.
All right. Well, anyway, we're already talking movies, which means we should probably wrap it up so that we can do the podcast after this one where we talk movies that aren't yours. But, well, I'm not even. Sometimes I finish with a question like, are there people you should mention? But you did a really good job of mentioning your collaborators.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I couldn't do it without them. Sports started my life, so I'm a team guy, and without the team that I've worked with on any of the projects I've done, I'm just a guy. So
I've actually talked to several people on this podcast. Of course, I'm somewhere around 270 guests now, so obviously it's a numbers game. But quite a few people who were into sports, and really, filmmaking is a team sport, right? Writing a novel is a solo sport. You might as well be a golfer. But if you grew up playing team sports, it really is a team sport. The filmmaking really is everybody, you need every role being played by someone who's good at that role. And if you have played a sport, whether it's, in hockey, I'm sure everyone appreciates, even if you're not the guy scoring the goals, if you're the person who's playing perfectly right in the middle and preventing, pressure on the back end, you understand that there's roles that need to be played that are complementary. And that's filmmaking.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for me, making the transition from being an athlete to being an actor back when I was, it really gave me a reason. I think because I was so broken, both physically and mentally, from having to retire as a 16-year-old, and just to be able to feel like part of that community and part of the theater community. And as weird as some of us were, it was kind of cool, and I think it really helped. So making the leap into making films and things like that from there has been awesome. And
here you are, and here you are, my age nearly, and you've got a team together.
Yeah.
you've got a nice team that role players are coming and going, but you've made 2 shorts now this way. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. I'm pretty proud. So
excellent. All right. Well, I will do my closing spiel so we can hurry up and talk about your favorite movies. I'm looking forward to hearing your favorite movies. So, Ren, thank you so much. You're the first person I thank. Now I'll thank everyone who's listening. If you're listening to this podcast, be nice, like and subscribe, maybe even write a review. If you want to learn more about this podcast, go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFwins. That's discoverindiefilm.com. If you go to discoverindiefilm.org, that is the nonprofit that runs 2 film festivals in the LA area. We never quite expanded outside of LA, but what can you do? A couple near misses. If you have a buddy who wants to run Film Invasion Toronto, let me know. But so the 2 festivals are Sherman Oaks Film Festival and Film Invasion Los Angeles. Sherman Oaks Film Festival is the one that played The Trade, where I got to meet you. So people who want to learn about that we hold every December, it's ShermanOaksFF.com, and it's at ShermanOaksFF on social media. It's Sister Festival that we hold every June. It's Film Invasion Los Angeles. Just go to filminvasionla.com and at filminvasionla on social media. And I call those sister festivals. Now my new silly thing to say is they've got a cousin. Next year, we're going to have Film Invasion Lima, Peru.
Oh, wow.
January of 2026. So January 2026, we get a South American cousin.
Cool.
So it only makes sense to go to Canada next, right? But
yeah.
But so there we go. That's everything. Thank you again, Ren.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. And like I've already hinted a couple times, the podcast after this one in the podcast feed will be Ren answering some questions about favorite films and more. So, all right. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, we said it together at the same time. So fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, probably because it's almost our bedtime. All right. Good night.